These are my personal opinions. Always seek a professional when you're making choices about your mental health and well-being. Someone asked me about obsession again. Again, I've actually said on this show probably 3 times now that I'll never talk about obsession again. So I'm not going to. I'm just going to address this one message I received about someone going through their obsessive thinking. First, this is my stock answer. Go to theoverwhelmedbrain.com and type the word obsess in the search field. And you will find several articles and episodes that I've created that really get into depth as far as how much I have addressed obsession and what I believe are some paths out of it. It could be very helpful to you if you are dealing with any type of obsessive thought. Now, I'm going to address this person's question really quick and very specifically because they have been in counseling on and off for over 20 years. And for the last 3.5 years, they can't stop sabotaging their new healthy relationship because of their obsessive thinking. Because their past relationships, they've experienced abuse and betrayal, and I'm sure they have PTSD, and they just can't get past it. They can't heal past it. And so here we are. This person's obsessing about what their partner does and the text messages and the phone calls that they get, thinking that what if this partner, what if this person that I'm supposed to be happy with also betrays me, also hurts me. So there's their obsessive thought. And again, go to theoverwhelmedbrain.com and look up that term obsess, and you'll find several articles and episodes that it should help you. But I'll give you some quick thoughts of mine right now. The first thought is when you are thinking about what could be, you never enjoy what is. One of the steps out of my obsessive thinking way back when is I realized that I wasn't enjoying what is. And I also realized that if what I feared happening never happened, then I have missed my entire time together with the person I'm with. If what I feared happening never happened, then I missed the time I have together with this person. I missed the fun times, the good times, the laughing, the joy, all the positive stuff. And I don't want to miss it because what if and this is my own thought process, what if I die tomorrow? What if they die tomorrow? That's another step I took out of obsession, is asking myself, okay, what if this person dies tomorrow? Was it worth obsessing that they might have been talking to somebody else or thinking about somebody else? Was it worth it if they died? So that's one question to you. What if they died tomorrow? And I know you don't like to think about that, but if they died tomorrow, would you be okay with the obsessive thoughts you had today? I know the answer, and you know the answer. Of course, the answer is no, of course not. In fact, I want to enjoy the time I have today. But that's my first thought to, plant a seed in your mind about how you can stop thinking about what might not ever happen or will never happen. We don't know. And if you obsess about things you don't know, you will be anxious. You will be fearful of the future. You will just carry this fear and maybe anxiety throughout your life because you're always thinking about what probably will never happen. So that's future thinking instead of present moment being. I'm thinking about what could happen, what might happen, what I don't want to happen. It's all fear. I don't want to think that way. So how do I get out of that? Well, I got to remember that, yes, anything could happen. My partner could get hit by a bus tomorrow and die. So should I have spent my time obsessing about who they're talking to, or are they going to leave me? I don't want to think like that. I would rather enjoy the now. I know this is not going to solve your problems. I know that this isn't the magic pill, but I'm giving you some seeds of thought to blossom in your brain. So as they grow, they change how you think. That's one little seed. Another little seed which may or may not be helpful to you. But for me, when I had lost several relationships, in fact, every relationship I've been in, they left me except for one when I was really young. But after that, every relationship, they left me. So I got to a point where I thought, I better enjoy my time while I have it. I better enjoy my time with these people while it exists, because I know it's not going to last. It's a terrible thought. Like, why would I want to think like that? Because if I know it's not going to last, I want to enjoy as much of it as I can. I remember when I first met my wife, she said, all these breakups that you had, how can you feel comfortable in our relationship thinking that I could leave someday? And I said, if I waste my time thinking about what you're thinking about or not, if I waste my time thinking that you could leave me, then I'm not ever going to be able to enjoy the time we have together now. And that was so important to me. And I realized that life is precious, life is short, and that at any time it could be over. So do I really want to spend any more time thinking that you might be thinking of somebody else or getting a text from somebody else? That's just a constant interruption to happiness if we think like that. And again, I know these aren't magic pills, but I want you to have some other thoughts going through your mind that aren't obsessive. If you're going to obsess about how much you really like this relationship or how much you love it and how much you enjoy being together and how much you enjoy spending time together. And when you do that, that's where your focus goes. And I know obsessive thoughts. I know how they work. They interrupt. They constantly barrage you with their presence. And in order to stop that from happening, I already mentioned a couple things, but this is my third and final thought on obsessive thoughts for this episode. Look at the overwhelmed brain, like I said, and you will find all kinds of strategies to help you get through these obsessive thoughts. But my last one is all about building evidence. And when you are obsessed, it's because you don't have enough evidence to convince you otherwise. For example, somebody could get obsessed about an ex, and they're obsessive because they want that ex back. And they become obsessive about this ex because maybe the ex wasn't 100% clear about the end of the relationship. Maybe they weren't 100% convincing that they don't ever want to come back to the relationship. There's always some sense of hope or some missing piece. And so I like to fill in those gaps. I like to find out if there is any hope or a missing piece. And if I were obsessing about an ex and I really wanted her back, I would reach out to her and say, is there any chance ever? And if she said no, that would be the missing piece. That would finally give me the evidence I needed. But the question is, what if they say, I don't know? If they say, I don't know, then my next step is, well, I need to know within a certain period of time. I might say something like that. I need to know because I want to move on with my life. And if I don't know within 2 weeks or 2 months, and if you're still in that space, I'm going to assume that you don't want to be together again. So I might do that. And that's a deeper topic. We definitely could get into the weeds with that one. But and I said this last week, I prefer to have a deadline. I prefer to set a date and say, okay, if I don't know, or if you don't know by this date, I have to continue with my life. That is setting yourself up for a win, not a fail. You set yourself up for a fail when you choose no date, when you say someday, or I hope someday that this happens, or what if? What if this happens? Then what? Then I should continue waiting. Don't set yourself up like that. Take out the what ifs. Take out the some days. Because when you keep those in your vocabulary, then you keep some sort of hope or waiting or even hope not. You don't want to keep a hope not, like I hope that doesn't happen. You don't want to keep that hope not alive either. You just want to say, on this date, I'm going to move forward because it's never going to happen. Now with this person, and I'll wrap this up really quick, this person who wrote and said that they're obsessing about a healthy relationship, how this their partner might get a text, and that text might be from somebody that wants to take them away, and that comes from that old trauma that comes back, that maybe PTSD, that you experienced these real things that happened to you in your previous relationships. So what do you do about that? And again, my answer, at least this third comment, is about evidence. You build evidence. You need reinforcement. That reinforcement comes in the form of, hey, he just got texted, but he didn't leave the house. Hey, he just got texted, but he didn't take a phone call privately. Hey, he just got texted, whatever it is. He got a phone call. Somebody visited him at work. All the things that you might obsess about, you need to build evidence that nothing happened. So what are your results? What is the outcome? Has it been 3 years and nothing has happened? Well, your evidence might be there in a big picture, but what you're doing is obsessing over the little things, the fine little details, because that's how you're wired now. You are wired to look for problems and be suspicious. And when you are wired like that, innocent people may suffer. And so he may be suffering because of that. And it's possible that you need just to have a conversation with him. Look, I am still traumatized from these past relationships. So every time you get a text, even though I trust you, I get triggered. It's not that I don't trust you. It's that I'm always suspicious, or I've been so suspicious throughout all my relationships that the texting is a trigger for me. So I just wanted to let you know that and see what he says. Maybe he'll say, I'm happy to show you every text I get. And maybe you'll say, no, don't do that. Because if you do that, then it makes me look crazy, or makes me look obsessive, which you say you are. So I don't want you to do that. But I think the answer should be, would you? I mean, that would make me feel better, but I wouldn't want to do that forever. I just want to do it long enough so that I feel comfortable every time you get a text that it's not something that I need to worry about. And again, you have to emphasize, I do trust you. I just have whatever, PTSD. I just have these fears that haven't gone away. And hopefully, if he loves you and supports you and wants you to be happy, he'll say, no problem. No problem at all. Here's my phone. And that'll help you build evidence. But what if he doesn't? What if he says, I'm not going to show you every text. I have a life too. I don't want you to see every text I get. That's just weird. I don't want that to happen. And he has a right to say that. But I look at it this way. If Asha suddenly had some fears, like, who are you talking to? Who is this girl that you keep mentioning? I would say, oh, that's so-and-so. Here's the message. I would show her. Because I want her to feel safe. I want her to feel secure. And if she's in an insecure place with me, we may never reach a full realization of what this relationship could be. If you have one person that's insecure in the relationship, and that is interfering with the relationship, and the other person doesn't want to make that insecure person feel safe, then it may not work. The relationship may not work if you have someone in your life that you feel insecure with, even though they're a trustworthy person, but you want to feel safe. And if they're not willing to help reinforce your security by giving you, quote, evidence and reinforce that feeling of security inside you, if they're not willing to do it, why not? That would be my question. Why wouldn't you want me to feel safe? Because as soon as I saw it a few times, like the texting, for example, as soon as I saw some of your texts and realized there's nothing to worry about, I won't worry anymore. That's how it works, because I just need that reinforcement. So that's my last suggestion to you, is that build your evidence. You need evidence for yourself, even if you have to find it in other ways. And I have to be really careful here. Does that mean you pick up his phone while he's not looking? It's not a good idea. It doesn't build trust. It actually betrays trust. But what if you can't stop obsessing about it? What if you finally decide to pick up his phone and realize there was nothing to worry about ever again, and that made you stop obsessing, and then you're both happier from that point on? I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm not saying that you should absolutely do that or not. I'm just saying that I picture a relationship where one person is continuously obsessive because they feel like they don't have enough evidence to stop being obsessive. And so they do this one little thing that changes everything, and they're happy from that point on. But I would never suggest that. I would only suggest that you have a serious conversation with him and he is willing to make you feel secure, make you feel safe. That was one of the top, if not the top value that my ex-wife had. Her value in a relationship, her number one value, was she just wanted to feel safe. And that was the number one value I did not complete, I did not fulfill. And because of that, we ended the relationship. It didn't work out. And so right now, you value security. You value knowing the truth. And if there are gaps in that truth and you need those gaps fulfilled, I would hope that your partner, who wants to support you and wants you to feel happy and feel safe, would say, no problem. I'm an open book. You can ask me anything. Because after a while, you're going to realize this is silly. There's no reason to not trust this person, because now I have all the evidence and it's continues to happen. It's repeated evidence that nothing is wrong and nothing is going on. And if nothing's going on, I have nothing to obsess about. The hard part about all of this is when you are obsessive about somebody in your life and you're constantly questioning or you're constantly in fear and your behaviors stem from that fear and it interrupts your time together, what ends up happening is you end up pushing that person away. And I think the person who wrote to me even said, I'm doing some self-sabotage process here. I'm sabotaging my own happiness. And yeah, that would do it. Obsessing would sabotage your own happiness, just like emotionally abusive behavior. That's the same thing. I work with emotionally abusive people, and I have to tell them what you're doing now to try to control or hurt the other person. When you want to have a relationship with somebody that you love and care about, but your behaviors show that you don't love and care about them. Your behaviors show that all you want to do is control them for your own needs. And when you do things for your own needs without consideration for the other person's needs, what you end up doing is pushing them away. And I think you know this. Person who wrote to me, I think you know that your obsessive thinking pushes the other person away. So look up those resources on my website and you'll find out a lot more of what I think about that. Thank you so much for that. I wish you the best. I'm going to get to another issue that somebody is dealing with. They said that sometimes their wife shows more emotion to her brother's dogs than she shows me. The message goes on, but I'm going to stop you right there. As soon as you said shows more emotion to her brother's dogs than she shows me, I sense an insecurity in there. I sense you not feeling the love and connection that you want from her. And then when she shows it to those dogs, you are not getting that same sense of love and connection that those dogs are getting. And if that's the case, if that's how you feel, which I think it is, that's what you wrote. First, let me ask this. If you had a favorite car and you were so excited to see that car and she expressed nothing, she expressed nothing over that car, would you be upset that she didn't express that emotion? And your answer is probably, no, I wouldn't be upset. At least I think that would be your answer. Because, that's what I like. That's what I enjoy. So there's a perspective, a reframe, if you will. Her appreciating the dogs, loving the dogs, having an emotional connection with them is one way to look at that. But a second, more important way to look at this is, let's just say that you saw a car that you really loved and you were so excited about it and you got to test drive it. Would you be okay if she just sat in a chair somewhere waiting for you, looking at her watch, bored as sin? And when you came back, you said, "Oh my God, that was so much fun." And she said, "Yeah, whatever. Can we go now?" Would you be okay with that? Because what that experience might show you is that she doesn't value you being happy about what you value. Doesn't mean she has to. She doesn't have to be happy about what you value. But how does it feel when she's excited for you? How does it feel when she sees your happiness and wants that for you? You know where I'm going with this. One of the things I really admire is when people have the courage to lean into uncomfortable situations in conversations. It's so easy to get defensive or shut down or lash out when something challenges our beliefs or worldview. But those moments of discomfort are incredible opportunities for growth, deeper understanding, and stronger relationships if we can stay open and curious. That's why I love the podcast Uncomfy, sticking with moments that challenge us. It's all about real people sharing their stories of daring to get uncomfortable, pushing through the intense emotions to have hard conversations, and come out the other side with more clarity, confidence, and connection. Whether you want to learn how to engage better on important topics, bring more humanity to online discussions, or just improve your communication and leadership skills, Uncomfy is for you. One story is about someone getting disrespected at the pool, something that I can relate to actually, and what happened when she confronted them. Another is about someone attending a birthday party, but the surprise went all sorts of wrong. If you're burned out on negativity and division, Uncomfy is the antidote. Don't miss it. Search Uncomfy, sticking with moments that challenge us wherever you listen to podcasts. Do you have any fears? I know I do, and that's why I love today's other sponsor, BetterHelp. I have come a long way regarding my fears, but one that still gets me is spiders. I mean, I respect them, but why do those little buggers still put a scare into me? Halloween lets us have fun with scares on the surface, but what about those deeper fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them. Because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back from being our best selves. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch at any time for no additional charge. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills, setting boundaries, and becoming the best version of yourself. And remember, therapy isn't just for major trauma, it's for all sorts of things, maybe even your fears. So overcome those fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/brain today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/brain. My last relationship, my wife loved her dog, and that dog tolerated me. He did everything he could just to be in my existence. I was friendly. I fed him. I did everything I could. I walked him, but he was a very one-person dog. And so my wife loved that dog, and that dog loved her. So all I could do was be okay that my wife was okay and be happy that my wife was happy. And the more I supported her happiness, the less I thought things like, that stupid dog takes up all her time, takes up all her energy, and she's always happy with him. And I don't get that kind of connection and attention, and that's good because I'm not a dog. Back then, I may have felt insecure about certain things and showed her that I was insecure by saying something or being jealous or being a jerk around her maybe. But I had to learn that it's important to value your partner's happiness. And if what makes her happy is something that you don't necessarily value, first of all, that's okay. But do you value her being happy? Do you care if she's happy? Because right now you're focused on, hey, I'm not getting the attention. And it's possible, hear me out on this one, it's possible that because she feels that you don't value her happiness in what she values, that she doesn't feel close to you. It's hard for her to connect with you because it may be hard for her to be with somebody who doesn't like to see her happy. And I know what you're saying. Of course, I want to see her happy. I do. But she spends so much time with those dogs and she's so happy with those dogs that I just feel like I'm left behind. Well, one thing I learned is that the more I support what makes my partner happy, the more she supports me, the more she connects with me, the more love she feels from me, the more she comes to me when she wants to talk, to share things, to be vulnerable, to be loving, to be happy. She wants to be happy with me. And these other things in her life that make her happy, the more I support her enjoying those things or people or animals, the more she wants to be with me. It's just a simple formula that some of us tend to forget. So you may not like those dogs, or maybe you just don't care whether they're dogs or cats or whatever. You're just not an animal guy, or maybe they're the wrong animal for you. But when you put your focus on what makes her happy and support it and encourage it and give her more of it. Hey, let's go see those dogs. I know you love those dogs. That is going to increase the bonding between you. That is my prediction. That's my crystal ball telling me that if you do this for her, she's going to feel it. Because I guarantee you right now, she feels a lot of resistance. And the more resistance and the more insecure you feel that you're not getting love and attention, the more she's going to put the attention on those dogs and attention toward other things and feel more of an emotional connection with other people and other animals and things like that, because she's sensing that insecurity from you. She's sensing that resistance from you. And here's the thing, in many heterosexual relationships, typically the female wants to be with a secure male. You know, it's just how it is. I'm going to put it out there. In many heterosexual relationships, the female wants to be with a secure in himself male. And before anybody writes to me, that doesn't mean men want insecure females or gay couples don't work the same way. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about a heterosexual couple right now. And that's how I've seen it most of the time, is that a lot of women want their man to feel secure inside themselves because it's an attractive quality. It shows a sense of leadership, that they can take care of things if things go wrong. And that doesn't mean either partner can't be a leader. I'm just saying that's what I've learned. That's what I've seen when it comes to relationships, is that sense of security that the partner notices in the other person can be an attractive quality. And that doesn't mean it works that way for every couple. There could be someone who is so confident in themselves that they're narcissistic, although that usually comes with a lot of insecurity. So that's probably a bad example, but maybe egoistic is more what I'm referring to there. But I think you know what I mean. I remember the words that my ex-wife told me when we first got together. I had a lot of growing up to do. I had a lot of emotional maturing to do. And I remember her words specifically because they just made an impact. And she said, "I don't want to be married to a little boy." Wow, that totally impacted me. And the first thought I had is, I'm not a little boy. I'm a man. I'm this age. I was in my 30s or something. And I just remember resisting that. I'm not a little boy, but that's what she was sensing from me. She didn't feel, I don't want to say safe, which is her highest value, but she didn't feel as if I were a leader in my own life. She didn't feel like I could handle myself or handle things if they went wrong. She didn't have as much confidence as I wanted her to have in me. And I didn't even know that I was causing it, but I was a little boy in emotional maturity. And so after that day, I realized what I had to do. I realized I had to be brave enough inside myself to say the things that were on my mind and speak up when I needed to speak up because I was such a people pleaser. I also had fears of abandonment and rejection, and I had to work on that stuff. And so she felt like she was with somebody that she had to take care of when she wanted to be taken care of too. She wanted somebody, maybe not all the time, but sometimes to say, don't worry, I got this. Don't worry, I'll handle this. She didn't want some fearful, insecure, maybe sometimes jealous, sometimes this, sometimes that. She didn't want that person. And so a lot of my healing started then. And I had to grow. I had to learn. I had to evolve emotionally. And that was a huge benefit to myself and the relationship, and also the times I used to feel jealous about her spending time with anybody or anything else, because I always wanted to spend time with her. I always wanted to be with her. I was very clingy. I was very needy. And I had to wean off of that. I had to get into a more secure place in myself where I wasn't relying on somebody as my sole source of energy and happiness. And once I was able to free myself from that, she felt free to be herself more. She felt free to be comfortable in her own skin instead of worrying about what I think. And that's a huge step. When you can be with somebody who isn't worried about what you think all the time, they want to be closer to you. That's typically what happens. They want to be closer to you. That strengthens the bond. I hope this is helpful to the person who wrote to me and the other person that wrote as well. There was more to that message about the dogs and stuff like that, but I think I got exactly what needed to happen there. I hope I did. If I didn't, let me know, but I think that's going to be the head start that you need to get past this. And it may take some work. You may have to work on yourself, and maybe your sense of value and worth needs to be looked at and addressed, and realize that you are worthy and you are lovable, because they wouldn't be there otherwise. The people that love you in your life. So thanks for writing, and thanks for listening to another episode of The Overwhelmed Brain. If you find value in the show, visit moretob.com, and there are options to give back, like the patrons that are already giving back once a week, once a month. They are valuable to me, and I am so grateful. Thank you, patrons, and thank you to anyone who donates to the show. Again, head over to moretob.com if that's something you'd like to do as well. And for a show on how to navigate the difficult relationship, listen to my other podcast called Love and Abuse over at loveandabuse.com. And if you know you're the difficult one in the relationship, join the program that is helping, thousands now. They're healing over at healedbeing.com. And with that, always keep your mind open, because that's how you make the best decisions. Be firm in your decisions and actions so that you can create the life you want. Always take steps to grow and evolve. You are powerful beyond measure. And above all, and this is something I absolutely know to be true about you, you are amazing.